Hello, friends. It's Carrie from Stretch TV. I am live. I think this is amazing. I have been working really hard. Oh no, turn that sound off. I've been working really hard to make this actually work, and I'm super excited. My goal was to have it all set up by the first week of February, and I think it's working. So, fingers crossed. Here we go. Today is a live Q&A, which means I'm here for you guys. Now, as we're just getting started, I actually don't think there's many of you on here. So if you are, say hi. If you're on Facebook, you just write in the comments. If you are on YouTube, you actually have to be a subscriber to be able to comment. So make sure that you're a subscriber to the channel. That's just to keep the weirdos out, or the bots or whatever. But go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It's actually really helpful for me anyway, because you guys are awesome. And the more people like you who are subscribed to my channel, the more people like you actually get to see my videos. And we want everybody to know about resistance stretching. So woohoo, that's exciting stuff. So say hi. Send me messages, send me questions. Up to this point, I'm actually just going to talk. So, maybe do some stretching too. But there's something really interesting that I got today in my email inbox. So I'm going to pull that one up first because I think it's kind of awesome. There's this guy, his name's Mo Bunnell. He wrote this book called The Snowball Effect, which is a sales and marketing book. He's this amazing guy, but he sends these emails out 4 a.m. on Saturday mornings, which, I send my emails out at 6 a.m. on Saturday mornings. So I kind of think he's on top of his game a little bit more. And I'll tell you why. He was talking in his email today about something called TSC, trait self-control. And it's basically the idea that if you have a higher trait self-control, then you are happier because you actually do the hard stuff. Like that's the little hard things. Like people who get up and work out first thing in the morning have long-term happiness because they have this self-control that helps them to do something early, like to do something small that creates a better habit later on in life, right? It's kind of amazing. So, and this is something that I'm not very good at. Like I'm the type of person that will take the recycling bag, like I use a little plastic brown paper bag and I fill up my recycling in it. And my intent is to take it down to the recycling every day. But what I end up doing is putting it by the back door and not taking it out. I have neighbors who have really high trait self-control and they take their recycling out every day. Like you literally empty it every day. I think it's amazing. Like there could be like 3 things in it and they'll take it down to the recycling. I think that's fantastic. But you know what? They don't have bags of recycling at the back door and I do. So there are things like that they build up over time. Well, stretching is just like that. Like it's totally just like that. So if you are feeling, oh, something's going on the Facebook. Oh, you know what? My mom's trying to call. They do this every week, I tell you. Every single week at 9 a.m., my family decides to have a group call. They're just waiting until 9:30. Anyway, so stretching is the same thing where if you just take a small bit of time where you are willing to do just 5 minutes of stretching, 2 minutes of stretching every day, then over time that builds up so that you feel better all the time. So I wanted to make sure that I tell you guys about the 2x2 program that I have on YouTube, and I should find that email or that video and share it with you. The 2x2 program is it's a course for 2 weeks, and I sent it to you in your email. And in that course, you basically get like a 2-minute video every day. And that 2-minute video is super easy. Like you don't have to wear stretching clothes. You don't have to get down on the floor. They're just really basic stretches you could do like at your desk at work. And those are really easy, like attainable ways for you to jump into resistance stretching and feel really good about yourself. Like, let me show you one of those stretches. This is one of my favorite ones. It's for the back of your shoulders. You just bring one arm up like this and grab the outside of your elbow with the other hand. And then you resist like you're trying to pull both arms apart. And so once you get to that point, here you're adding resistance and then you start moving. So you open up and then you close like this. You just go back and forth just like that. And it's this wonderful, beautiful stretch for the back of your shoulder. When you resist, you really feel it in a beautiful way. It's just amazing. And you can do the stretch so easily. I mean, I do it all the time, just like sitting there watching TV, or when I'm working at the computer for too long, you just pull out this stretch. So to do the other side, you just have your arm here at like a 90-degree angle, and you put your other hand on the outside here, and you just open and close. So that's one example of one of these 2-minute stretches. Every day you get a new one, so you just kind of build up your library, I guess, of resistance stretches. Oh, that feels really good to me today. Maybe we should do a little focus on this, okay? Now, you guys who are there watching live, be sure to say hi, put a note in the chat, and remember that for you to chat, you have to be a subscriber. So make sure you subscribe. And if you're watching this after the fact, like if you're, if you're coming in later, then scroll ahead forward so that you can ask questions. Because if you ask me questions when you're online, then it won't work out. Haha, Fire 91. Hey, I'm so excited you're here because I felt so bad last week. I felt so bad. There's a little bit of a delay, so I apologize that I'm getting into your comment later. Last week was a disaster. Man, what a day, right? I could not get it to work, but I think I've got it today. So ask your questions. In the meantime, I'm going to work a little bit on the back of my shoulders. So let me show you this stretch. This is for the back here, the one that I was just doing. So you open here and you close. And what you end up finding is this stretch right back through here, right along your shoulder blade. It could go into the back of your shoulder too, like right back through here. One of the things that's really cool about resistance stretching, and what I'm always wanting to like really impart to you guys, is impart the right word? I don't know. It doesn't matter. What I'm really trying to like instill in you, right, is this idea that you really want to listen to your body. I think one of the biggest problems that we have in the physical fitness world, in this community, is that people don't actually listen to themselves. They don't listen to what's going on in their bodies. So resistance stretching is amazing because it's crucial that you listen to what's going on in your body. I did get it straightened out. I know, I'm so excited. I wish I could get the chat bigger so I could see it because it's kind of far away. Anyway, so what you do when you've got this stretch is you feel like when you're going into the stretch, you actually pay attention to what's going on. I know that's really hard for people to do. They're like, I've taught classes for years. I've been doing this for almost 15 years. The first thing people do is they like zone out. They're doing the exercise and they don't really feel like they want the mind-body connection, right? I think we just want to go through the motions, just do the things. But here's what's so cool about resistance stretching. You're doing this stretch and you go, oh, that stretch feels awesome in the back of my shoulder, or it doesn't. Or it feels like pinching in the front here. It might feel like kind of a pain in the back of your shoulder. You may feel nothing at all. You might be really confused on how to do this stretch and you don't know why. And you just think if you just keep doing it over and over again, you're going to finally figure it out. But a lot of times what's going on is that there's some sort of imbalance or some sort of barrier in another part of your body, usually in the front, right? Because you're trying to fold over your pecs. So your pecs are like right here, right? So you're just going back and forth like this, okay? So when you're coming into this part here, if you can't fold over the front, then you can't stretch the back. That's a really kind of a paradigm shift a little bit, because a lot of times people think, well, I've got to just keep doing this stretch over and over again so that I can feel it. Same thing with touching your toes. You can't touch your toes if you can't fold at your hips. Let me show you. Like if I go to touch my toes here, that's all fine and good. And I can feel my hamstrings, that's fine. But if my hip flexors are tight, when I go to fold here, it's actually, there's not going to be a fold. My tight hip flexors are going to lock me up and my toe touch is going to look like this. A lot of times people are like, my hamstrings are so tight. Like, this is not your hamstrings, my friend. It is here. It's this ability to fold. And so your hip flexors a lot of times are the ones that are in the way. So that being said, if I want to stretch out the back of my shoulder and get a really good stretch there, then I want to stretch out the front too, because resistance stretching actually trains your muscles to work in two directions. It teaches your muscles to stretch, but it also teaches your muscles to contract. And that's amazing, right? That's the good stuff. So what I'm going to do is a reverse push-up. I'm just going to go onto my hands and knees like this, and I'm just going to very slowly drop down and then push back up. Slow, slow, slow. This stretches my pecs. So I'm stretching out the front of my shoulders. I'm going to do all these push-ups and I'm going to be out of breath, you know? Just telling you right now. Awesome, that's plenty. And then I also want to stretch out another part of my pec muscles. This is the Pec Minor muscle group, which is a small muscle group that connects to your rib cage and up into the top of your shoulders. So what I'm going to do is come into a reverse table, and I'm just going to do some looks like a crab walk almost. I'm going to push up through my hands to stretch out the front of my shoulders. So as I do this, I'm getting that nice stretch to the front of my shoulders, really focusing on what I'm feeling, working on all those muscles in the front so that they'll learn how to shorten, right? That's the whole point. And then once I've done enough of those, then I can come back to the back of my shoulder. And what I really want to notice here is, what do I feel, right? So go ahead and bring that arm up. It doesn't matter which one. This is my right arm, but you could do your left or your right, it doesn't matter. Grab your elbow with your other hand and resist like you're trying to pull both arms apart. And then push open. This is your strength training. And as you pull across, you may notice a better stretch. So this is where you really pay attention to what you feel. Find that stretch in the back of your shoulder, right? It'll feel different. Mine does. I feel a lot of difference around my shoulder blade, really feeling that good stretch around the shoulder blade. I could stay here all day. I could do this all day. Oh, it's so good. I'm gonna do the other side too. So just a little bit of problem solving is sometimes all it takes to really open something up. And so in a lot of my videos here on YouTube, I mean, I really try to give you just a quick little stretch, a quick introduction to resistance stretching, like, you know, short little videos. But problem solving is really important. And so that's why I'm always trying to direct you into the problem solving videos, into the extended videos, even into doing that 2x2 program, just so that you can get used to some of these other stretches so that it's really easy for you to problem solve. All right, I think we have a question. The bent knee against the wall is a killer on the knees. My quads must be too weak and tight, so it dumps everything off onto the knees. I find shortening the movement helps. Yeah, for sure. Usually, is it like the pressure on your knee on the floor, or does it feel like it's deep within the knee capsule? That's what I want to know. Like, that would be a really interesting thing to find out. Now, let's see. I usually have a towel in here, but I forgot one. So I'm just going to grab this mat, which is probably covered in cat hair. You guys know my cats. I was filming a video yesterday, and Tommy, the kitten, he's not a kitten anymore, he's like 2. He jumped right across the video, like, jumped right in front of the camera. So anyway, I'm going to get this mat, like, kind of set up deep into the knee. Yeah. Oh, yeah, like, I'm going to pull it out of the socket. I got you here. I have your answer. I have your answer. So what you're going to do is make sure that you have this cushion here. And Fighter 91, I think, you do not have to do, I can't remember your number is. You don't have to do the stretch, okay? I just kind of want to show it for everybody so that they know what's going on, all right? But I don't want you to do it if it's hurting your knee, and I'm going to problem solve you through how to get that pain out of your knee, okay? So here's the stretch we're talking about. You just bring your knee onto your mat or your towel or whatever, your cushion, and your foot flat against the wall. And then you bring the other knee to the front. We call this quads at the wall. Okay, now here you're pushing your foot into the wall. That gives you resistance. And your other foot is pushing into the floor. Now the problem here, the question is, when I'm in this stretch, my knee feels like I'm going to pop it apart. Like I'm gonna, like completely break my knee, right? That's actually a hamstring problem. And this goes back into what I was talking about before about this need to fold. Sometimes your calves and your hamstrings are so tight that they won't let you fold into this position. So as you come into, like, you're forcing yourself into this fold, what ends up happening is that the knee actually, instead of folding like this, like being comfortable in folding, it's kind of separating to fold over the hamstring. So it's kind of like trying to open a door with a chair behind the door. And you're in this position, if I keep pushing myself back, it's the same thing as like trying to open a door that's got a chair behind it by slamming the door into the chair. All you're going to do is either break the hinges off the door, which it sounds like is what you're doing, or you're going to break the chair, right? Which is your hamstrings. So usually they're going to cramp up. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so that's our stretch, and we're not even going to bother with it. I just wanted you guys to see what it was so that we could talk about it. Now, let's work on problem solving. So this is the magic, and this is the stuff that I really go nerdy over. Like I geek out over this stuff, okay? So the stretch you actually want to be doing is your medial hamstring stretch. So you lay on your back. Bring your left leg up. I'm assuming it's both legs, but we'll do both legs. Bring your left leg up and let your knee just kind of like drop open to the side as far as it'll go. And then take your left hand with your thumb down and grab your heel. Now, if you can't reach this, you can use a rope around your foot. Okay, you just wrap the rope here and hold it. You do the same thing, just extending your arm with the rope, okay? And then you want to find resistance. This is important. You resist by kicking down. And then you want to keep kicking down. So your heel is trying to stay down all the time. And your arm is pulling you up. And you don't want to resist so hard that this is difficult. You should be able to pull up pretty easy. I mean, I'm just using my thumb. So it's not a ton of resistance, just enough. And then I'm going to kick down again. And I think we should probably do about 10 of these if it feels good. Okay? So what's happening here is we're stretching the hamstring on the inner part of your hamstring here. We're stretching this piece so that the fold becomes easier, because remember, resistance does not be long like this. It also teaches your body to be short like this. And you may notice that if you were having trouble on the wall, that you can't get your heel down this far, that maybe your heel only comes down like this far, right? So pay attention to that, to how far you go down, and then stretching up. And you may notice that with each stretch, you can get your heel down a little farther. You can get a deeper stretch, a bigger stretch, bigger range of motion. The stretch is not about the end, right? The stretch is about this, from here to here. It's about your range of motion. It is not about this piece here. It's about this distance from here to here. Okay, that's another little paradigm shift for stretching. A lot of times people think that stretching is just this, right? That's not. That's the end. It's done. At that point, nothing else is happening, right? Nothing good is happening at that point. And I know static stretching is one of those things that people really love and they do see results from, but they see short-term results, right? Static stretching is like, oh gosh, it's like stretching your elastic band on your pants for a long time. Like you just end up with like pants that don't stay on. You know, it doesn't. There's no bounce back, right? So you want to make sure that there's a bounce back. All right, that's probably enough for that side. Let's switch sides. So bring your right leg up and drop your knee open. Take your right hand, thumb down. Your arm's going to go on the inside of your leg here. So my arm is inside of my knee. I'm going to kick into my thumb, kicking down, and then I'm just going to pull up. So my leg is still kicking down. My arm is winning. Now remember, you can use a rope for this, totally fine. And you just go back and forth, up and down, just like this. And again, you want to do about 10 of those, okay? So keep with it. I'm going to read this comment. Yeah, it totally does. And you'll see. I know it seems kind of ridiculous. It's like, how can that help my quads? But they work as a pulley system. So like your quads are shortening, your hamstrings lengthening, right? So as I'm doing this stretch, here's my quad right here, right? In this position, the quad's long. It's kind of like if you were sitting on your knees or sitting on your heels, right? Then as I come up this way and I'm stretching here, my quad's shortening. So there's actually movement and there are things happening in your quad at this point. But yeah, it's super important. It is super important and it seems crazy, but you just got to go with me here. It's kind of like gosh, what would be a good example? You know, like an infinity sign, right? Or like if you took a rubber band and twisted it into an infinity sign. I wonder if I have one somewhere. How can I show you this? My instinct is just to take my hair down, but that's not helpful right now because I'd have to put it back up again. Okay, let's do it this way. Say you have an infinity sign like this, and you're trying to stretch your quads, but they're going this way, and your hamstrings are locked up. So what's going to end up happening is that you're going to go to stretch your quads here, and your hamstrings are just kind of bunching up, like they're just kind of getting stuck. They're getting like knotted up. Yeah. So then what ends up happening after we stretch your hamstrings, we kind of like get those knots out, right? So then when you go to stretch your quads, what happens is the knots are gone. So now your hamstrings will shorten and then you can go back and forth. Yeah, it's just the opposite muscle group. It's a huge paradigm shift for people. And I'm just like, you can't beat a dead horse. Like you can't keep doing that quad stretch on the wall with your hamstrings like that. Because if you keep doing that hamstring on the wall, what you really are going to do is hurt your knee. Like that's what you're really going to do. And that's not cool, right? So then just after that one stretch, let's go back and try this quad stretch at the wall and see how that feels. And if it doesn't feel good, I have one other trick, okay? I mean, I have a handful of other tricks, but I have one other pretty effective one. So here we are in this quad stretch, and you push your foot into the wall, and the other foot's pushing forward. And by forward, I mean it's like pushing into the ground this way, and you just go back and forth. You should notice a difference already, right? More quad stretch, less knee pain, right? Now, if it's still intense, let me know. I mean, I'm going to show you anyway, because that's what I do. I'm a teacher. I love this stuff. I mean, do you think I get bored with it after a while? But I do not. I never get bored. So ask all the questions. I got all the answers. All right, when you're ready, put your hands down and let's try the other side. So you just bring that knee up against the wall as close as you can, as close as you feel comfortable, and then you just switch. So you go forward and back. So pushing into the wall for your strength, pushing away, right? This is strength training the quads. And then you just come right back. I wish that this was in real time so that I could get your comments like as it's actually happening, because on like what's happening in the video at this point is I'm still holding the rope up. So I'm getting your comments as we go. But I'm so glad you're here this week. I was worried that I scared you away last week with my awful things. Technology. Speaking of, I'm just going to check this Facebook again because something weird is happening. Yes, it's just my mom trying to call me again. I mean, thank God for moms, right? But she's got to know it's not cool, Mom. I'm working, Mom. She should be watching the video is what should be happening. You know, in the beginning when I was talking about those like short-term gains, making short-term progress for the long term, that's the one who needs it. All right, so this next stretch is for your groin muscles. And now everyone's like, how on earth can my groin muscles be affecting my quads? And this is like amazing to me. Your body has a backup plan for every muscle group. So if you're having issues with your quads, your groin muscles are going to take over. And there's a pattern like this for every muscle group. So for your groin, it's the quads and vice versa. For your medial hamstring, it's the lateral hamstring. For your central hamstring, it's the adductors. There's this pattern of compensation. And it's just your body's like plan B. Like if one thing breaks, something else is going to pick up the slack. And that's how we make it through life. It's really important, actually. And it's absolutely amazing that our body has the capacity to do this. But what usually happens is your compensation patterns get turned on, and then you don't really have the mechanisms to flip back, right? It's because like from an evolutionary standpoint, we really weren't meant to live long enough to have this many compensation patterns. It's kind of a crazy thing to think about, but the life expectancy even 100 years ago was like under 50, I think. Like we're pretty, We're getting old, you guys. We're getting old. And what happens with age is multiple compensation patterns, like layers and layers and layers that we don't actually have the ability to naturally get rid of. But resistance stretching somehow does this work with your neuromuscular connections. So we can kind of get more information through resistance stretching. It's kind of like telling your body, like, hey, this is how you really work, right? This is where you're safe. This is the direction you go in. So the groin stretch, you sit down like this and put your feet together. Now, if this is tough for you, like if you're having trouble sitting up, then you can bring your feet further away. Okay, you just find what works the best. And then you put your elbows on your knees. You're gonna squeeze in for strength and open up for your stretch. So I'm pushing down with my elbows, but also kind of sweeping out so that I get a nice deep stretch through the inner thighs. And you just go up and down just like this. So this stretches the inner thighs here, okay? That's what we're aiming for. So you want to listen to your body, see what you feel. If you're feeling it in the back of your hips, that could be another hamstring issue. So if that's the case, let me know. We'll stretch those out too, because why not? We could do it all today. All the good stuff. All the good stuff. All right. And then after you've done a handful of these and you feel good about it, then we can go back to that quad stretch and check it out. And let's see what happens, right? Because now your groin muscles know, hey, I move in this direction. This is my job, not that direction. Let me show you how this compensation pattern works. Your quads pick your leg up like this. Okay, I'm guessing if your username is fighter, that you're probably fighting, right? Am I wrong? So if that's the case, then you probably have this compensation pattern at some point, right? Well, what ends up happening when your quads get too tired, like maybe you did too many kicks one day, then your groin muscle will pick your leg up from the inside here. So instead of picking it up from your quad, which is an outward motion this way, it picks up from the groin, which is an inward motion this way. You see, it looks the same. It looks really similar. The difference is if I'm coming up this way and I hit a ball, it's going to go that way. If I come up from my groin and I hit a ball, it's going to go that way. You see? So it ends up being an issue with compensating. I do that groin stretch every day. Yes. These imbalances are big. So I think that medial hamstring then must be the issue. But if we come back and forth, or back to this one, you may see that you have a change now. Yeah, for me, woo, that's a big one. That's a big change. Feel really good, actually. Feels like an easy stretch. So removing that compensation pattern creates like the right movement pattern in your body so that you're not counteracting, like if you were using your groin muscle, which is when you have a compensation pattern, you're using your groin muscle, the force is wrong in the stretch, right? The actual, like you're lifting, you're trying to kick your leg into the wall in the wrong way, right? And so you're actually not engaging the right muscle. So it gives you pain or it locks you up, right? So hands down and try the other side. Now I'm curious too, how you did after that hamstring stretch. If you notice the difference in your knee pain, that would be big. That would be a big one. And if it's still there, there's probably some other things. Like you probably need to work on all three hamstrings, okay? Or your calves too. Calves can be a big one. So like the downward dog stretch would be nice. That'd be a good one to work on. I'm trying to think. I do have a video that is hamstring oriented. I think I need to find it for you. Let's see if I can find that video. This is I really want to just be to the videos that you need, but I think I have to figure out a faster way to do that so that you're not just watching me. Looking up things on my computer. So yeah, hopefully that helped. I'm I'm excited. I'm glad you're here because that was a really great question. And I think it's going to help a lot of people to really understand problem solving, because I think that's the one where, we get so confused. We just think we need to keep doing the same stretch over and over again, right? It's such a waste of time and painful, right? You don't need to do things that are nobody needs to do painful things. And I mean, really, if you start listening to your body in the right way, you start to notice that you start to really notice what your body feels like. And it really, any type of resistance stretch that you're doing should feel good. And if it doesn't feel good, then we've got an issue, right? If it doesn't feel good, and when I say we've got an issue, I mean, we have something that we can actually fix. We have something that we can work towards. We have something that we can actually make gains on. But it's not by doing that quad stretch a million times or a million different ways. It's not about finding an alternate quad stretch. You could find an alternate quad stretch, but it is that you have to work on your hamstrings, right? You have to work on folding as opposed to stretching. I think that's a bit of a paradigm shift for a lot of people. This is taking forever. Yeah, I think if it goes immediately to your knee, like inside the joint of your knee, then I would not do a lot of work on your quads, but do a lot more work on your hamstrings and a lot of work on your calves. Okay, that would be the kicker. I'm trying to find that hamstrings video for you. Come on. Everything's just really, really slow because this it's using a lot of computer. But I'm so close to having that hamstring video. Oh, come on. Okay, getting closer. Hamstrings. The problem too is that there's like a gazillion hamstring stretches out there. It's a live video. I think it was one that I did, like a full-length class. Grr, where is it? Come on. Thanks for being patient. I'm going to get this video for you. And then we're wrapping it up. So if any of you are still hanging out who don't care about that video, then you can go and I will see you. I just put out a new video today, so make sure that you watch that. And yeah, I would say sorry, I'm catching the chats at the same time as talking. I would say quad strength would be really great, and work on the hamstrings, like doing like reverse motions with the hamstrings, like the eccentric stage of strength training will give you the resistance stretch, and that'll reinforce the folding. Also, just finding these hamstring stretches. So I know it's here somewhere. Yes, and so the rest of you who are just sitting here staring at me, every Saturday at 9, we're live, so come with your questions. Also, there's a new video at 9 not at 9, it's at 6 a.m. every day, so that's a good one. What else? Touch your toes. This might be the one. So check that out. And then the 2x2 program is another one you might want to check out. It says like stretching, the title of it is Stretching Habit in 2 weeks or 2 minutes or something like that. That's another really great one that, oh yeah, the resistance stretching with Darren DVD is awesome. That would be really good. And actually you can find those videos. Come on. There we go. You can find those videos on YouTube too. Okay, I put that. There's that video, the hamstring one that I was talking about. Sorry for making you wait so long. And let's see, book 2. There we go for all you guys. All right. Now, are there any other questions? I think we're probably good at this point. Just come next week with your questions. And be sure to sign up for that 2x2 program. I can maybe find that one too and put that in the chat here. And then be sure to subscribe to the channel or become a friend on Facebook if you haven't yet, so that you are always notified when I go live. Okay. All right, friends, I'm going to find that video, but you can log off now and I'll see you next week. Okay. Bye-bye. What I need is a faster computer. We're like 3 computers. That's what I need. You guys are great though. It's like everything runs super slow. There we go. Oh, why is it doing this? It's searching for hamstrings. Well, anyway, since you're all off, I'll put it up later. I'll put it in a pinned comment on there later. And you can always find it at the end of all my other videos. It's on the end screen of all of those. Okay? All right, my friends. I'll see you next time. Okay? Bye.